Hey y'all. Today we're going to be talking about the sheer ineffectiveness of the United Nations, as well as some of the more recent idiocy that's taken place within the organization, namely the approval and appointment of Saudi Arabia to the Women's Rights Council. Now, Saudi Arabia is a country where women don't really have rights. They can't drive, they can't go anywhere without a male escort, they are given a male, guardian from birth. They are worth half as much of a man in court. They are forced to wear the veil. Simply put, women in Saudi Arabia are absolutely oppressed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no obfuscating it. They're just oppressed. And the appointment of Saudi Arabia to the Women's Rights Council is really, really depressing, but expected from the United Nations. The UN has a long history of being a rather ineffective organization. They haven't intervened in terrorism until 9/11 happened, even though they were an organization specifically designed to keep peace in the world. They let Rwanda happen directly under their noses. They were there during the Rwanda incident, where the Tutsis, I believe it was the Tutsis who were slaughtered by the Hutus. I think it's the Hutus. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Comment down below. I believe it was the Hulus who were the predominant, the larger group, and the Tutsis who were the smaller group, and the Hutus genocided the Tutsis while the UN was present in Rwanda, and almost 1 million people were genocided. That's a really great track record for an organization that's specifically designed to keep global peace. There is also the Nuclear Proliferation Act, or the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Act, I should say, where they decided that, the five countries, we know these countries have nukes, they're going to sign this, we're not going to spread nuclear devices throughout the world, we're going to prevent this from happening. And India, Pakistan, North Korea, and other nations are currently developing nuclear arms that weren't developing nuclear arms during the time, and they're not really doing anything to stop them. So why would you make the policy if you're not going to enforce it? UN does not like enforcing their own policies. The UN makes a lot of claims and statements, and then just doesn't follow through. That's just what they do. As a platform for nations to come together and speak, I think that it can have an effect there. It is a platform where different nations can select representatives to come and speak on behalf of said nation to the United Nations and to other nations in that way. But I think that it isn't necessary to have a centralized meeting place for this to happen. I think that it can be just as effective to have it happen in Mar-a-Lago, at the golf course. Trump just invites 5 different world leaders and they talk while playing golf. I think that could be just as effective as the United Nations in terms of that. Even a simple phone call can be just as effective. We have webcams. I'm looking at one right now. This could be just as effective a means of communication. Those movies where they got the different screens up, that's reality. We can do that. Overall, the United Nations is simply a money dump into something that doesn't actually do anything. They don't police the world. They don't keep the peace of the world. They don't provide an unprecedented forum for global speaking. Instead, they invite Anita Sarkeesian to bitch about her being called dumb on the internet, and Emma Watson to say, "Oh, everybody needs to be a feminist. We need men to be feminists because men need to protect women." It's just a joke of an organization that doesn't need to exist any longer. It was a good idea. An organization and a place for countries to come and to speak to one another to keep peaceable relations globally. That's a good idea. In practice, it just doesn't work. So I do think that the United Nations should be abolished. I do hope that Trump follows through and pulls the U.S. out of the UN. We don't need to be funding something like that. It's simply put unnecessary and ineffective. I know this is a really short video. It was just, spur of the moment. I heard Saudi Arabia was put onto the Women's Rights Council. I thought that was retarded. And I thought this was a good time to explain why I think the UN is not necessary anymore at all. It really wasn't necessary at the time of its creation. But still, I really want to thank you guys for watching. Comment down below what you guys think of the United Nations and Saudi Arabia being put onto the Women's Rights Council. And have a conversation there. It'd be great. I really hope you guys have a great day.